Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday, December 4th. The cities of Corpus Christi, Alice, Beeville, and Mathis are forming a regional alliance to pool water resources. KEDT News reports that Alice City Council members officially signed an interlocal agreement on Tuesday. Beeville and Mathis City Councils are expected to approve the agreement next week, followed by Corpus Christi Council. The agreement will allow each city to utilize one another's strengths as statewide drought conditions continue. Corpus Christi manager Peter Zanoni told KEDT that the drought has forced everyone to get practical with their resources.
What the interlocal agreement does is gives us access to each other's resources, whether it's engineers, staff resources, or even water.
Zanoni said the urgency has intensified as lake levels continue to fall, thus the need to band together. One of Corpus Christi's main water sources, the Choke Canyon Reservoir, recently hit a historic low of 10% volume this week. Alice City Manager Michael Esparza told KEDT he sees promise in the alliance.
Interconnectivity between Beeville, Mathis, and Alice, that has potential. And Corpus Christi, being the regional water provider, would need to be in the middle of that because it's difficult for somebody, a town like us, a town like Beeville, a town like Mathis, to put some plan together like that.
The city of Alice has its own resources like a brackish water desalination plant that's online and a second water well in development. Esparza said that puts them in a position to help partnering communities and credits that partnership to Corpus Christi leadership. Corpus Christi City Council did not meet this week, but District 3 Councilman Eric Cantu stopped by the KEDT Center to chat with Lon Gonzalez yesterday. One of the main topics they covered was alternative water supplies, including the controversial Inner Harbor Desalination Plant project.
We are speaking with Corpus Christi City Councilman Eric Cantu. Most recently, you sent out a press release and you were announcing initially your support for the Inner Harbor Desalination Project, but it's contingent upon a couple of critical conditions. Explain those conditions.
Thanks for having me. You know, I've always been for desal, but I've been for safe desal, affordable desal. You know, I decided to be the fifth vote under two conditions. First condition is going to be doing a far field study to make sure that it's very safe for the bay. And I didn't want just a far field study just on the Inner Harbor. I wanted it to be throughout the whole bay of Corpus Christi. Number two was we only have loans right now for I believe 757. Anything different, I wanted the state to come in and give us a grant. You know, I understand that Corpus Christi needs water, but I also have to protect the residents, the ratepayers. And that's my number one goal is to make sure that they're protected and they don't pay so much more. Because in reality, we're not the ones using the water, it's the refineries, the majority of the water.
Right. Now, you said the desal plant was for the refineries.
Correct.
Are you still holding on to that position?
100%. You know, I think, they probably use about 60% of the water. You know, I think, and they're good partners with us. You know, they do a lot for this community. And it's not their fault that we're out of water. I really strongly believe that past councils, past city managers oversold our water and they've never thought about the future. And now this council, with the majority of this council, is not just thinking about the Inner Harbor project. We're thinking about the future. We're trying to find water solutions for 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. You know, we can't just think about the next 5 years, 10 years. We got to really think about the future because Corpus Christi needs to grow more. We need more businesses here. And I want Corpus Christi to be open for business, for all types of business.
In relation to that, when we're talking about, industry needing water, has the city council talked to some of these folks involved with these industries at any great length about working together on this particular project?
I really wish that they would do more to help us pay for this project. I really believe that, in my opinion, they don't pay enough on the rates. They get really cheap rates with water. I really wish that they will pay a little more, and stop suing the city for the tax increases, and be a team player. And majority of the refineries are doing that, but there's some who, keeps on suing us for the tax increases and stuff like that, And another thing that I told our city manager is, before we move forward with any other more water projects, we need to have a contract in place for so many years with these refineries, because at this time, they could literally give us a 30-day notice and say, hey, we don't want your water no more. We're going to get water from somebody else. And the whole deal about that is what the people of Corpus Christi need to understand is if we lose a big customer like that, what they were paying the customers or residents will be paying the difference. So it really works out when we have all the refineries in our network so we could bring the price down of water. And so I told Peter that we need to make sure we get the contracts in place before we do anything, because like I said, any given time they could just get up and leave.
You talked earlier about a grant or seeking grants. How is that coming along, or has it even started?
It hasn't started yet. I know they're looking for grants and they're looking for government grants, stuff like that. But past couple months, the governor has showed a lot of interest in Corpus Christi, talking about if we don't make this happen, then he'll come in and make it happen. Look, the problem is money. That's the main problem. The second problem is I don't want our ratepayers to suffer because of business, other refineries and stuff that are using the majority of the water. We have to worry about the people out there in Molina, Crestmont, the middle class people that are struggling today. There's people out there trying to figure out if they're going to pay their medication or pay their water bill. And we shouldn't be living like that. Water is a need. It's not a want, it's a need. We need it. And it's not a luxury thing. You survive with water. And so I'm just trying to protect the people and protect their pocketbook for sure.
I know that the Texas legislature is probably going to be looking very, very hard at the water issue for the entire state. Has anybody representing Corpus Christi been involved with the legislature or been in touch with our representatives and on this front?
I know our representative, Todd Hunter, Adam Hinojosa, Denise Villalobos, and I believe Chuy Hinojosa are working with the state, the governor's office, to secure monies and let them know that we have a need here in Corpus Christi. And I want to reassure the public, we're not going to run out of water. It's not going to happen. The worst case scenario is going to be the refineries will have to cut back. Are you going to go home one day and there's no water coming out of your faucet? That's not going to happen. It's bad, but it's not that bad. I think we will protect the general public first, make sure that we have our water. So I think the stuff that we're doing right now, we will be okay.
When you ran in 2022, you lost then, but you got back in the fold in 2024. What you're experiencing now at the city council, is this what you were expecting when you stepped back into the ring there?
I wish I'd run in 2 years from now. I didn't want to be in this water crisis, but it's very scary. At the same time, it's fixable. Mother Nature is just... she don't like us right now. That's just the truth. And there were some bad choices made in the past. People make bad choices and stuff. And, like our reservoirs, they're at a bad location, to be honest with you. We should have moved them a little over there by Victoria area or somewhere, it gets a lot of rain. We got to deal with it now. We got to fix the problem. Every day we're trying to find water. They make a big deal about this groundwater, emptying out the groundwater. We're taking the water, stuff like that. And I understand where they're coming from, but you got to understand too, for 50, 100 years, that's what we've been getting our water is drilling water. There's so much water down there. It's plenty of water down there. And there's a lot of communities in Texas that's all they rely on. They don't have any lakes and stuff like that, But I think we're going to be okay. We're going to fight for water. We're going to look for water every day. We're going to get water online hopefully by end of December. The Inner Harbor project, I just feel that we need to do more studies on it, and we need to find someone who's more reasonable than $1.2 billion for 30 million gallons a day. That's just a lot of money. It's a lot of money just for 30 million that you can't even grow from there. Barney Davis site is a site that I'm really looking at right now. You could start with 25 million gallons a day for under $220 million. That's the numbers we're given. From 25 MGDs, you can grow that to 50, to 100, to 150. There's so much growth there. And that's a site that was looked at first, but for whatever reason, they wanted the Inner Harbor. My opinion why they wanted the Inner Harbor was it was a better access to give the water to the refineries because everything's just right there. So I think Barney Davis is a great site. We're not going to stop looking at it, so we want to continue looking at that site.
Talking earlier about who's getting water, industry as opposed to residents and whatnot, what's been the opinions of the people in your precinct on this situation?
Honestly, and this is the truth honest, I've been block walking, to be honest with you, the past 2 months. I've been knocking on doors in the afternoons and just to talk to people and see how they think I'm doing. Just trying to start my re-election a little sooner. I really haven't had people tell me they want the Inner Harbor. They want it to be affordable. That's their concerns. Their concerns is finances right now. You know, they're already paying a lot for the water bill and wastewater, electricity. You know, what broke my heart, man, I went to Molina about maybe a month ago. I went walking and I knocked on this door and this lady comes out and she's probably about 78 years old, Mrs. Gonzalez. She said, Mijo, I'll invite you in, but I got no electricity right now because I'm waiting for my Social Security check. I had to pay my water and my medication. And that just broke my heart. People are living like that in Corpus Christi. We got to protect those people, man. I mean, it's just stories like that. That's what I'm fighting for.
As we come to the end of the year, what are your expectations overall?
I know that we're getting water, we're signing contracts. I think the contract for Centin is coming up on the agenda for I think it's about 20 million gallons a day deal. But I think so far we had a good year. I think we've done a lot of things to secure water. We will know more beginning of the next year timeline. I think we're doing a good job. I think this council really is looking for water like no other council before. And we're not just looking for water just for next year or 2 years down the road. We're looking for water for the future. And I tell everybody, oh, Inner Harbor didn't pass, that's why we don't have no water. We won't see a drop of that water for like 4 or 5 years. We got to find water today, because even if we pass the Inner Harbor project tomorrow, we're not going to see any water from that for years. So we really need to forward and secure other water projects.
Corpus Christi City Councilman Eric Cantu, we thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
That was Corpus Christi District 3 Councilman Eric Cantu speaking about the Inner Harbor Desalination Plant project, one of many alternative water supplies as the city looks to a potential Level 1 water emergency in November of 2026. Democratic South Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife are being pardoned by President Trump. Texas Public Radio's Joey Palacios reports the Cuellars are accused of accepting money from a foreign government and working on behalf of agencies outside the U.S.
On his platform Truth Social, Trump said Cuellar and his wife Imelda would receive a full and unconditional pardon, adding, quote, Henry, I don't know you, but you can sleep well tonight. Your nightmare is finally over. Attached was a letter from the Cuellars' daughters petitioning Trump for the pardon. Last year, the Cuellars were charged with bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering by the Department of Justice. Cuellar allegedly accepted approximately $600,000 in bribes from a Mexican bank and an oil and gas company owned by the government of Azerbaijan. Cuellar was reelected in 2024, months after the indictment. He represents communities from San Antonio to Laredo. He's held the office since 2005. I'm Joey Palacios in San Antonio.
Corpus Christi Fire Department is urging residents to use safe heating practices to prevent house fires as temperatures drop. Fire officials recommend residents use only approved heating equipment and choose space heaters with an automatic shutoff feature. Residents should also keep flammable items at least 3 feet away from heat sources and ensure that space heaters are turned off when unattended. Gas stoves and ovens should never be used to heat a home as they pose a risk of fire and carbon monoxide poisoning. The department also reminds residents to ensure their homes have working smoke detectors. According to the National Fire Protection Association, heating equipment is one of the leading causes of home fire deaths in the country. The new Aransas County Courthouse is nearly complete, and county offices have finally moved in after months of setbacks and delays. County Judge Ray Garza, along with several other officials, began moving in this week. He told KRAS 6 News that the public can also enter the courthouse for business beginning next week. The original courthouse was destroyed during Hurricane Harvey in 2017. Groundbreaking on the new building was in 2022, with an original completion date set for 2023. The county and district clerk offices will remain at their current location at 2718 Highway 35 North until work is completed on the fire suppression systems. Garza said county commissioners should begin holding court in the new building next month, despite some courtrooms still needing work. And the Harbor Playhouse is expected to undergo a $4.9 million renovation soon. KRAS 6 News reports the renovations for the nearly 50-year-old building will be funded through Type B sales tax revenue. According to city project plans, the project will include a slew of upgrades. That includes exterior structural repairs, parking lot reconstruction, plus a new roof and repairs. The project will also split the Harbor Playhouse's air conditioning from the Hilliard Center's central cooling system as they install a separate modern HVAC chiller built in 1976, the Harbor Playhouse seats about 450 people and includes a performance stage, rehearsal and dressing areas, among other amenities. But being a venue by the bay for many decades, it has sustained structural corrosion, deterioration, and equipment failures. And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp, your community arts calendar, and more is on the way.